Hi everyone, Haley here from The Foiled Plan. I am so freaking pumped to share with you today that we have hit 100,000 foiled friends here on YouTube. Had you asked me in 2018 if I thought it was possible when I was just making these little DIYs, I would have told you absolutely not. But I have you guys to thank for that, and I am forever grateful. I would love to do a giveaway just to say thank you. So if you have any ideas what that giveaway could entail, let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, let's get started on today's DIY. I typically use my Cricut to cut vinyl, but I wanted to try something different for this fun milestone. To create this paper banner, you'll need a pattern, a way to access Cricut Design Space, I'm using my iMac today, paper, adhesives like double-sided foam tape squares and a glue gun, a cutting tool, ribbon, your Cricut, and supplies for your Cricut like the cutting mats. So the pattern that I'm going to use today is from the Auntie Tay membership, and on her website, if you are a member, you get access to so many things like this featured designers page. You will see a familiar name, which is pretty cool. If you click on it, you will see I am a featured designer on this website. I'll try and contain my excitement. This isn't sponsored or an ad or anything. I'm just really proud of it. But I have my own page where you get access to my designs and my printable practice pages for learning how to hand letter. It's all included in her membership, so you don't pay any extra for that. But yeah, pretty stinking cool. Anyways, let's get back to it. Sorry, I always go on a tangent. Back to the pattern. Okay, so if you click on Home or the Craft Styles tab in the menu, scroll down until you find Party Templates and give that a click. Now you'll see all the different options for parties and party supplies that you can print. I just kind of did scroll through, and the nice thing about these is you don't have to make them look exactly like what you see in the picture. There's lots of different ways you can do things. I really liked the bows on the JoJo Siwa banner, so I just clicked on that and then clicked once more on the picture inside so that it would download the SVG file for the banner. Now we're done with this website, so we can bring up Cricut Design Space. I'm going to make this full screen so I can see things easier and click on New Project. I had something on the canvas before, so I'm just going to hit Replace, but if you need to save your design, if you were working on something, make sure you go ahead and do that. Now we're going to click on Upload and then Upload Image. Now I hit Browse and I'll look to my Downloads folder to find the SVG of the JoJo Siwa banner I just downloaded. Once it opens, the image name should be auto-generated, but you can edit it if needed, and then hit Upload. Now it'll be the first item in your recent uploads, so click and then click the button that says Add to Canvas. Now it should be there, and it should all be grouped together so you can kind of resize it to get a better visual on it. Now I'm going to click the button that says Ungroup. And because I plan to use mostly just the banner portions, I'm going to move this over to the side, and I'm going to use this one. It doesn't really matter where you put it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just like to visualize things the way that they would be when I make them, so I like to make lots of adjustments. It's totally unnecessary though. Now, making sure that I'm only selecting the banner part and not the number, I'm going to copy and paste so that I can duplicate just that, and I'm going to do the same process with the number 0. I happened to notice this was behind the banner, so I just selected and then pressed the Arrange button and then move to the front. Now I click to select everything in this part of the banner, and I'm going to copy and paste it. Just saves a bit of time. You've already done it once, so I just copy and paste it multiple times so that I have 5 zeros. Then I just moved the bows over so that it was easier for me to see, and I duplicated them so that I could cut out multiple bows. Again, it doesn't matter where these are sitting on the canvas. This is just simply for me. Visually, I like to see things a little bit neater, so that's why I've moved things over, but you don't have to. Then I knew I wasn't going to use the rest of the numbers, so I just highlighted all of them or selected all of them and then press the delete button. You can use the delete on your keyboard as well. I did keep the letters for a little bit longer just because I thought I'll leave those there just in case I want to use them. Eventually I did just get rid of them though. I didn't end up using them, but you can also highlight things and just press the hide button if you think you might use them later on, but you don't want to see them on your canvas for now. Now I'm just going through and kind of trying to get a better visual on what this banner would look like with different colors and I thought maybe adding some teal in there would look nice, some different shades of pink. Ultimately, I did go back to just using different shades and patterns of purple and then also white. But I did use some different colors for the bows, and it's really nice because when you bring up the material colors tab, it's gonna show you the colors that you're currently using in the project. So if you want to use the same color for multiple things, it's just right there. There's no guesswork. But yeah, this part is really just to get a better visualization of what your end project might look like. One of the final things that I do after I've kind of figured out the configuration of my design, I say my design, I did not design this, but I'm doing design stuff in the program, if that makes sense. Anyways, so I work out the sizing and just make sure any banner piece that you're trying to resize, you have everything selected within that banner piece, just because you want proportions to all stay the same. I do zoom out here so that I can move things down and adjust things appropriately, and just kind of space things out, see what they look like. And then I do resize the bows just because right now the size that they are, I think they would be much too small for the size banner that I'm making. So I selected every single one of the bows, so it was all in one large grouping selection, and resize them all to something that I thought, kind of eyeballing here, but kind of thought would look more appropriate with the size banner I'm making. Just made that adjustment, and then again, I mentioned before getting rid of all of those letters. This is kind of when I got rid of that. And then I was going to just make it by hitting the make it button, but I had a last minute thought. I wanted to make these even thicker, so I copied and pasted 6 of the white banner pieces because I wanted those to stand behind every single one of the pieces just to make them a little bit thicker. So this is kind of a last minute decision that I made, which is kind of why the screen kind of shrunk down. I had already started to get my Cricut set up, and then I was like, no, I want to do this. So anyways, now I'm just hitting the make it button, and it'll sort the project by color. So it automatically defaults to 12 by 12 size, but some of these are going to be letter size pieces of paper. So it'll adjust it by color. So if you click on material size, it will adjust just everything in that color. So you can see I changed the white to 8.5 by 11, but everything else stayed the same. So I just go in and make the adjustment on the blue. The purple stayed the same because I'm using scrapbooking paper for those. But then the last sheet is a pink sheet of cardstock, which is letter size. So I changed that as well. I should mention, before you even hit the make it button, I typically recommend hitting the save as or save button just to save your project, because sometimes when you're working with something that has a lot of mats that it has to organize, sometimes things can freeze and it's just a pain in the butt. So it's best if you save your project and you don't have to worry about losing all of the hard work you just put in. Anyways, okay, so I've hit make it. I've sent it over to my Cricut. I'm using the Cricut Explore Air 2 for this project. This is my favorite machine. I don't have a maker or any of the new ones, but this works just fine for me. Now you'll notice that I'm using the blue mat, which is the light grip mat, because I am working with paper. This mat is pretty old though, so it wasn't as sticky, and I haven't cleaned it in a while and didn't want to pause what I was doing to go and clean it. So I did make some mistakes, or it kind of went in to the machine a little bit funky. So I ended up having to switch mats. I wouldn't recommend ever using a standard or green mat because that is just much too sticky. But this mat that I'm using is quite old, and it has lost a lot of its tack even after washing it and cleaning it. So I'm just using it for this cardstock here and the scrapbooking paper, and it's working okay. But if you're using new mats or mats that have their proper amount of tackiness or stickiness, then definitely make sure you use the blue light grip mat. Now I've got everything cut out, and I also have my computer screen up, so I'm looking at the screen and comparing it to the pieces that I have so I can sort through everything and make sure that I have all of my pieces in the correct places before I move on to the next step. I like staying organized. because if I just started grabbing pieces here and there, I feel like I would end up assembling something incorrectly, and I just didn't want to deal with that. So I am using these foam squares. They're double-sided, and with some of the numbers, like the 1, it's pretty thin, so I did have to even take some of those squares and cut them in half in order to stick them on the letters, or sorry, on the numbers, and them not be seen when you're looking at them straight on. These are actually just from the dollar store, so I'm sure you can find them at your local dollar store. They're from the Dollar Tree here in Ontario. So yeah, when I moved on to some of the bigger pieces, I figured maybe I would try using the double-sided foam tape, but it's not as thick, so I didn't like the result as much. So as I progressed on, I just continued using the little squares, just kept things consistent. So I applied the banner pieces together from, if you're looking at it, from the top piece, and then the next piece behind it, and so on and so forth. I'm happy that I decided to add a second backing piece in the white cardstock. It made it a little bit more rigid, which is nice because I want this to last for a long time. I want to hang it up on my wall. Anyways, now we're moving on to bows. So I did originally try to use those sticky squares to attach these together, but they just were not holding. So I broke out the trusty dollar store glue gun, and it did the trick perfectly. So I just folded in the tabs. Oh, you see Mr. Kelso pop his head up there. And then just adding the folds to the bottom pieces, which isn't necessary, but I just like that little bit of extra. And with this bow, it was a different kind of scrapbooking paper that I was using. It was kind of textured on one side and I didn't realize it. So when I went to do the second one and folded it in, immediately it just creased and looked terrible. So I opened it back up and grabbed scrap in the same color, and I just used a blade to cut around it because I didn't want to get my Cricut back out again. And then I made sure to pay attention to which side had the textured surface, and no creases this time, so that was awesome. Something to be mindful of if you have textured paper you're working with. Next, I laid out each of the banner pieces and decided exactly where I wanted the bows to sit, and I used my hot glue gun to attach them. I just didn't feel like the double-sided squares were going to hold up over time, just because they do have a little bit of weight to them, the bows I mean. Oh, there's Mr. Kelso again, having a little snooze. Anyways, this is what they ended up looking like, and I just took a piece of ribbon from my ribbon box, strung it through, and then I hung it up. This is the final result. I really enjoyed making this project, and it's making me want to do more paper crafting projects in the future. So if you have any tips or tricks when it comes to working specifically with paper, let us know down in the comment section below, not just for me, but also for the rest of our foiled friends here in this crafty community. Also, be sure to let me know what you would like to see in a giveaway. I want this giveaway to be for you guys to say thank you. So I want to make sure that it's for something that you actually want. So let me know down below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a super awesome day. And that's all I'm going to say. Bye.